Open it up. Cheers. And welcome back to another episode of Cold One Conversations. I am Brendan Petrilli. Alongside me is my boy, Harry Heaps. We're back for another one here. Hope everybody enjoyed that first episode. Make sure you subscribe. I'm looking at the numbers right now. We had about 300 different viewers, right? Only 9 subscribers.
9.
What the hell's going on with that guy?
Disgusting.
All you got to do is click that little red button, hit the bell, so you know when we go live and we post. Should be every Thursday, maybe a Friday. Schedules work out weird with the two of us. We're grinding out here. I was working Pearl Jam the other night. It was a blast, but, sometimes you got to push it back.
But, that's what you heard. That's what you heard.
Broken. But as we dive into it here, we had a crazy week 1 of the NFL season. I hope everybody enjoyed last episode, breaking it all down. You got to hold us to our overs and unders. Who knows where it's going to turn out, but we had a lot of fun breaking it all down. Now let's break down week 1 of the NFL season here, because we're going to get into the MLB a little bit later on throughout the month of September here as the playoff races really start to ramp up. But Harry, what are we thinking, dude? What's our initial reaction to week 1? Where do you want to start?
Well, man, I think that we summed it up off camera. Keyword is sloppy. I mean, week 1 was not the week 1 of really any week 1 that I can think of, man. I mean, that Tom Brady was, only kicking field goals and then only scored 1 touchdown. I can't remember the last time I saw a game like that. Well, yes, I can. The Super Bowl against the Rams. But I mean, that was a soccer game. But the point being is, I mean, nobody really seemed to be into the game, man. I mean, the only team that did was the Chicago Bears, and then they went and did the slip and slide move, going through the puddles. Listen, I'm so excited to have football back, but I'm expecting a lot more from week 2. How about you?
No, big time. I mean, we're starting it off right now as we're recording. It's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the Chargers Chiefs. Chiefs kind of, the sloppiness is still kind of going on in this game.
I know.
Both defenses were flying around to start the game. Offenses were literally starting to click. And then all this, Harry and I are prepping for the show. I go, dude, the offenses are clicking. They're down at like the 1 yard line, the Chargers. And then all of a sudden pick 6 the other way. I'm like, well, there goes that.
Dude,
so, I mean, it's just been absolute sloppiness from both Mahomes and Herbert. They've both been taking way too many chances. So, I mean, we'll see where it moves forward, because that's really was the biggest key. Was you kind of saw the teams that practice and had their players in that a couple preseason games, more than a couple snaps, they played very well. And then the teams that didn't play at all, they came out slow. They came out not ready to tackle. They didn't come out crisp on offense. And a lot of teams took L's because of it, or had games closer than they should have, right? And you saw that with the very first game of the year last Thursday night, Rams-Bills. Bills came out and absolutely dominated. Bills had Josh Allen and the rest of the guys play a little bit in the preseason. Rams coming off a little bit off the Super Bowl, maybe a little Super Bowl hangover, think, all right, we can take a chill pill a little bit. And they got absolutely shellacked. Dominated by the Buffalo Bills. Now, we'll see where the Bills move forward. That's a high bar that they set. But, Harry, what do you think about that Rams team coming off the start of the season?
Can't finish. That's the first thing that comes to mind, man. Is as good as that Bill offense was going. Well, let me rephrase that. As good as that Bills defense was going and getting after Matt Stafford, sacking him 7 times, Bills gave away the ball 4 times, Trilly. They had 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. And you did that against a Super Bowl winning team, the past champions, and they still couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
They had 4 mistakes. In any other game, you do that against Tom Brady. You do that against Aaron. Aaron gets a chance. Patrick Mahomes, even Justin Herbert at his young age, Russell Wilson, right? You do that against any other team, and they should be able to get it done. They should be able to capitalize off it. For some reason, the Rams weren't able to do it. I called it trouble in paradise for the Rams, a team that, got to play at home for the Super Bowl and win, and got to be at home again with the Rock going rampede. It should have been, can you smell what the Rams are cooking? What do we know, as we always say?
You got to hit him with the eyebrow, though, too, at the end.
Oh, yeah, you got. Do I know? But the point being is the Rams still couldn't capitalize, man. I think that we're going to really see this elbow come into effect with Matt Stafford. And I don't think that the offense right now looks the same. I think that they're obviously still a choice to be a very heavy Super Bowl favorite, playoff favorite, deep NFC favorite. And honestly, the truth is that they can play like that. And I think that you and I will both admit they've still got a chance of going far. But the difference is in the AFC, they're not going to be able to do that. And I see the Rams, I don't think that this is a Super Bowl matchup. But at the end of the day, how Josh Allen was just stiff arming guys to the ground was absolutely insane. I think the Bills got a ton of firepower, but I told you, man, I think, we made the point last week. What are the Bills and Josh Allen? Go out there and get it done, right? Saw a little bit of that.
They went out and they got it done.
Yeah, they did get it done, but you saw a little bit of,
the rust. Yeah.
The rust. And not even the rust, just not being, I would call it not being, I mean, he's a gunslinger. I get it. He is. And at that point, you can't sort of have refinedness because he's just going to be so good. But dude, you turn the ball over 4 times against Patrick, he's going to score twice at a minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, he just is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you do that, he didn't get it done this past week, but you do that with the Raiders, Devontae Adams, 30 yards in, they're going to make something happen. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I thought it was trouble in paradise, and I hope that the Rams can recover because, listen, good Rams football is a great watch, but they got to step it up.
Yeah, the biggest thing was, the first one was off Isaiah McKenzie's hands into the linebacker. Nothing you can do on that, right? But then the next couple turnovers, you're just like, what are we thinking here, boys? It was too aggressive. It was too much. It was too sloppy at the end of the day. Now, They're definitely going to, they've been working on that 100% during practice. Shout out LaSalle alum, Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Bills. He's not going to allow that. Wrestler, he's got discipline, and he's got to make sure that his boys are ready to rock and roll and held to a higher standard moving
forward. The golden blue. That's right.
Hail LaSalle. But he's not going to let that happen. And Josh Allen knows it. He's got the talent. He's got the guys around him.
He does. To
make the plays. Now, the biggest thing that I saw on the flip side of it, right, was the lack of a second guy. Cooper Kupp got his, he 100+ yards, a touchdown. He was able to get 3 feet in on a toe drag swag in the back of the end zone going up. Like, if that was an Eagles wide receiver the last couple of years, she's not even getting 1 foot down, let alone 3, He's just super impressive, but you saw the lack of a second option in a Robert Woods or an Odell Beckham. They just didn't have that guy. Allen Robinson had like 2 targets, no catches. He just wasn't getting open. Doesn't have the speed that he used to have when he was with Jacksonville, and even a little bit at the start with the Bears. You kind of thought, hey, maybe he hasn't had a good quarterback other than Blake Bortles in his whole career. But now he goes with Matt Stafford. Maybe he can get it going again. Just doesn't have that pep in his step right now. It came out slow, and they don't have anybody else other than Cooper Kupp to really get it. Cam Akers takes a backside to Darrell Henderson that nobody was expecting at running back, right? Everybody's taking Cam Akers high in fantasy drafts, and all of a sudden the guy had like 5 carries. So the biggest thing for the Rams is finding that second and third option now and seeing where the offense goes other than Cooper Kupp.
Absolutely. And going on top of that, man, I think the even bigger takeaway that you and I have both missed until right now, going into Men in the Trenches, is what we especially saw, man, is that loss of Andrew Whitworth. I mean, you're getting sacked 7 times, and I'll make a prediction here, dude. The Bills showed that this defense might be the cake of the team.
That defensive line is nasty.
It's crazy, dude. And the pass rush that was coming after Stafford was ridiculous. And Von Miller looked like that it was his Super Bowl year for the Broncos that game.
No.
The way that he was eating up that line was ridiculous. And I think he only had 2 sacks out of the 7, but dude, every time he was putting Stafford under pressure.
Yeah.
And I think that we all kind of went into this year thinking, the Bills, what's the foundation of the Bills? Their offense, Josh Allen. And there's no question about it that Josh Allen is. But I'm going to say this year, I think that their offense might be more of the icing. I think the Stephon Diggs, the receptions to Stephon, Obviously, they don't have run game. We've brought up, go out, get Kareem Hunt. The offense, that's going to be your icing this year. If they can play that way throughout the season for at least 10 or 11 games, dude, get after a quarterback 4 or 5 times, possibly lead. But I mean, if they have types of games like that, they'll lead the game. They'll lead the league in sacks.
Yeah. And they knew that, because
Absolutely.
16 seconds last year is all it took for them to lose a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's all it took. And they realized that. They made the adjustments. And now that defensive line is capitalizing. As Andy Reid goes and pulls off another victory over the Chiefs. Well, maybe we'll get to that game in a little bit later. But let's move on to a couple other games throughout the week there, Harry, because that was a great start, a sloppy start, and kind of a precursor throughout the rest of the week. And that's going to lead into, I want to talk about my birds.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about my birds, the EAGLES Eagles.
The one-time ring. Let's do it.
Hey, it was a great ring.
It was a great one.
It's a great one. But the thing was for the Eagles, right? Come out, Detroit smacks you in the mouth.
Absolutely.
Bit you one of your kneecaps off, but you still had the other one.
And you came back up.
And they came back up and they missed.
Right.
They missed the other kneecap because the Eagles come back and take a 17-7 lead.
Yeah.
Going into half. You're riding a little bit. You're coasting. The offense is moving the ball. AJ Brown's an absolute monster. Make sure you go check out the BSP podcast, my other personal podcast, if you want more inside knowledge of the Philadelphia Eagles. Subscribe to the YouTube there, as long as this one too, here with Cold One Conversation. We got to get those subs up, people. The views are getting good, but the subs, we got to get them up.
We're trying to get $100 million deal.
100 mil.
100 million!
At least. But
that's
AJ Brown's an absolute monster. 150 yards, first game as an Eagle. Doesn't get a touchdown, surprisingly, because that offensive line and those running backs and Jalen Hurts use their legs.
Yeah.
They use their legs a lot. And that's Jalen Hurts' biggest strength. You knew he could do that. Now, my biggest thing is he relying on it too much? Can he make those big throws? He made the one before going into half to AJ Brown down the sideline. Awesome throw. Great throw. But then he comes back 2 plays later. He has Kenny Gainwell slipping out the backfield, and he shorts arms it and throws it into the dirt when he could have just walked in for a touchdown. They had to settle for 3.
Right.
He had too many of those plays throughout the game. Now, is that just, first game rust, jitters, whatever, call it? Maybe. Is it that the offensive line, they were missing a lot? Because the Eagles' biggest thing on offense is running those read option plays, those run pass options. And it's a totally different thing for an offensive lineman when you're in the trenches down there to going from smashing a guy in the mouth in a run play and making sure you're not going too far down the field if it's going to be a pass. And they were still out of sync a little bit when it came to that fourth quarter when they were doing those RPOs. They were getting caught with bad penalties. They were letting guys just fly through the line. Jalen Hurts made great plays with his legs, escaping the pocket, escaping sacks that honestly should have happened. But just because you have that athleticism back there, as you know, with your birds too, and the Ravens and Lamar, they can make those and set up other things. I just want him to let loose. I feel like Jalen's uptight. He wants to be too perfect with it. Go out and ball, dude. He had no turnovers. Great. Absolutely fantastic. But when it comes down to it, he's too afraid to turn the ball over where he doesn't make a throw that he should. And you saw that with Devontae Smith getting 0 catches on the day, only 4 targets, because maybe Devontae was covered, right? But he doesn't have that same, relationship that he does with AJ Brown, where he'll throw it up there for AJ and be like, go get it, maybe he's just not there with Devontae yet, even though it's been going on year 2 now. We'll see where it evolves throughout the season here. And we got a big one coming up Monday night that we'll get into it a little bit later in the episode. But Harry, what do you think? I mean, I went for a while there. I had a lot to get off my chest.
But yeah, hey, you had your point. Again, this is a topic that you do know.
Yeah.
This isn't a hands up.
Yeah.
It's a fist up, right? And what I think, man, is there are a few similarities here that I'm going to take from it that I actually coincide enough with the Ravens. I think that right now Hurts is in that Lamar year right now. I'm not saying that he's going to have an MVP year where he's going to rush for 2,000 yards, but he's in that space where it's like, hey, there's whispers. Is this our guy? Maybe this is our guy. This could be our guy. This could be our guy. And he is starting to absorb that now. We look at his completion percentage, right? He had 32 attempts, 18 were complete. Not the best, but listen, he's also been in that label of, hey, he's going to run too much. So, hey, he tries from the air. You're not going to do the best that you can, but you got to take that chance, right? I'm glad to see him doing that. But I didn't see him, as you noted, look to his strengths. Go to your feet and learn. Lamar, we've gotten to see that year where we've done 2 years of, okay, you establish you can run. Then the second year you rush for 2,000 yards. All right, now let's look to pass. Jalen, go have your 2,000 year. Go show the league who you are. Impress everybody first. You just showed up, dude. You don't have to yet show everybody your talent in the pocket. Go to some of your strengths first. Win some games. I'm not saying that that's a long-term solution. You know me. I see that face. I say the same thing. But what I am saying is right now as an Eagles fan, you want to win games. Let's let this kid rely a little bit more into what he knows best. I think that honestly, he's a more natural passer than Lamar is currently. I think that that's kind of undisputable. But what I do see is another similarity I'm going to make here. And you hear this all the time if you played high school sports, especially, is the phrase of playing down to your competition. And two teams that is so true for since I've been watching football, especially over the past, since we've really known each other. It's always been true since I've been a Ravens fan, but the Eagles do this somewhat. The Chiefs are not a team that play down to somebody's level. When Arizona's bad, they go high. But the Ravens, we beat the Jets 24-3, but I digress. We'll get into that later. Should have been 85-3, right? And you see with the Eagles, you were having all this dominance, and then you let the Lions get back into it. And not only you letting them get back to, now it's a competitive game. Now they're on your heels. Now you're like, what's going to happen?
Now you got to go for it on 4th down at the 50-yard line to make sure they don't get the ball back to tie the game,
Exactly. And so now it's like, where are we going here, guys? We're on top. Let's capitalize. Let's play our football game. But the Eagles and Ravens have both had this problem where it's in their DNA that at times they will play down to a competition level that is below them, where they can perform significantly better. Yet when they're in that game, it's like, oh my God, this is not the team that I know can be winning right now. This is not even the team that's on paper. It's like when you looked at the Cleveland Browns 2 years ago. On paper, they were a Super Bowl ready roster, but when they got on the field, they damn sure were not.
It's not even the team you saw a quarter ago.
Absolutely.
The play calling changes, like everything on defense and offensively, you stop getting aggressive. And you're like, what are we doing? Are we playing just to get through burn out the clock, or are we playing to win the game?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the Eagles fell into a trap in the 4th quarter where Jared Goff and the Lions, you were still kind of bringing some pressure, but they picked up. They dropped the ball off. Guys were missing tackles after that. Next thing you know, you're getting 10 yards, another 10 yards, on a 15-yard, 5 yards, 10 yards, and you're down in the red zone all of a sudden within a minute. That's just what was happening throughout that 4th quarter, where before you were coming up with those negative plays. You were stuffing it. You were getting hands on the ball. I can go on and on and on of how the team changed. You were running the ball 3 plays in a row on offense when you were running the RPO effectively throughout the whole first 3 quarters, where they didn't know what the hell was going on with your offense. A.J. Brown's wide open every other throw. Dallas Goedert is coming across the middle, breaking tackles. Miles Sanders is bouncing out. Everything was there for you, and then all of a sudden
you let it almost slip through.
You tightened up, and you were playing to burn out the clock,
right?
And they know it. When you should have, back in 2017, Dougie P was that killer instinct. They went and they killed teams. Patty Mahomes, Andy Reid, they killed the Cardinals.
Yep.
They didn't let the foot off the gas. They went and we'll score 50 on you. F you. We're not going to let the clock run out. Right. We're going to put more on. You stop us. Right. And that's not the mentality that they had at the end of that game, and that's why that game got close.
Absolutely.
Now, I can go on and on and on about the Eagles, so make sure you go. If you want to follow more Philadelphia Eagles content, go subscribe to the BSP Podcast on YouTube. Click the subscribe button, put on the bell. But, yeah, go check that out. Having a lot of fun with that, too. Every Monday we'll put a game out. Well, it'll be Tuesday because Eagles are playing Monday night, but we'll get into that game in a little bit. Make sure you subscribe to the Cold One Conversations here too. Myself, Harry Heaps, having a lot of fun with it. But Harry, you were talking a little trouble with paradise, right? With that first game, Bills, Rams, team that was in the Super Bowl, team that could have been in the Super Bowl. But the other team in the AFC that made the Super Bowl had a lot of trouble in paradise.
Trouble in paradise part 2, man. Should have been a walk in the park.
That's the Cincinnati Bengals against the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you got on that game?
Oh, God.
Man.
I mean, we're talking my division here. Listen, there's a point about speed when it comes to the preseason, out of conference, but there's a different type of speed completely when you're talking in-division game and in-division rivalry. And this is a game where the Bengals should have gone in and cleaned up. I don't care who you are. I was seeing the Joe Burrow of his rookie year getting hit way too often, going to the ground way too often, not being able to blow teams out of the water way too often. And I don't care what you say, man. One of the best running backs in the league is on that other team, and they didn't have him all game long, and you couldn't put it away. That is not a good mark. Now, yes, the AFC North, as I have mentioned a million times, heavy defensive league. And at the end of the day, when the Bengals play the Ravens, when the Ravens play the Steelers, when the Browns play the Bengals and the Browns play the Steelers and whoever else, it's a totally different game. Defenses are going to come to play. At the end of the day, it's going to be who wants it the most. It's a grind it out, dirty, punch them in the face type football games. Say, when you lose Najee Harris and then TJ Watt is done going into the fourth quarter, yes, you tie it and you couldn't get the extra point. I understand, but you should have had it done a game ago when they can't score on you. They don't have their biggest offensive threat. You have arguably the number 1 to number 2, at the minimum, number 3 best wide receiver talent in the league. You've got a top 7 quarterback without a doubt. They've got a good number 2 in Mitch Trubisky. They got the guy who just sat behind Josh Allen. They got the guy that got ran out of Chicago. He's not eating hot dogs anymore. He doesn't get to say go Bears anymore. He's done. And you can't get it done. And at the end of the day, both of these teams showed, as we've seen with so many teams, that there's rust after the Super Bowl. And I'm going to say something right now. If he's going to get hit that much, it is not going to be a good season for the Bengals. I'm not out on them. At the end of the day, Joe Burrow's talent is going to be able to win them games, but he doesn't have the body of Josh Allen. He doesn't have the body of even a Patrick Mahomes, as we used to call him. We would call him little Roethlisberger too, Fat Boy Patrick. You and I would say that while we're watching the games. When we're watching the game in the rugby house, you'd crush the Miller Lite can and you'd throw it at the wall, and we call him Fat Boy Patty. But the point being here, man, is there are certain guys that are going to be able to take, and there's other guys that have shown you hit him too much, he's going to be hurt. You know what I mean? You don't want this guy developing an injury history that at times Derek Carr has had, where he's out or he's hurt or he's not able to perform it that way. You don't want him developing an injury history that Dak Prescott has, that we didn't even touch on, but we will. Trouble in Paradise wasn't a good game. Can't believe both teams missed field goals in OT. I could go on and on.
That game needed to end in overtime.
That
game should have ended in overtime.
Yes.
We should have had 2 ties to start week 1 of the NFL season.
Absolutely. And they're saying, man, dude, TJ could be out for 10 weeks.
Yeah, they're saying he can come back after week 6 since he's not getting the surgery. But,
right.
I mean, you've seen JJ Watt power through stuff like that.
Yeah.
His brother, JJ.
It's a huge tear. This is a huge tear.
Maybe JJ goes and be like, hey, dude, this is what I took. This is what else.
I'm telling you, man.
That's what's going to happen.
Bring them back.
Yeah.
Bring PEDs back. No.
Dude, that's probably why JJ got hurt so much, is because of taking that stuff, like that hurts, disintegrates your body taking that stuff.
I mean, it can. Either that or you're on it and then you have to get off of it.
Yeah, and you saw that with Tiger Woods, how Tiger just that's another story for another day.
That's another story for another day, but because we love Tiger here. Again, $100 million deal.
Tiger.
But the point being, where I'll end off for Trouble in Paradise is both teams. I think a lot of people lost a lot of money, and that is Trouble in Paradise on the Bengals and the Rams. But really quickly, I want to move to another AFC team. I want to talk about my birds, Ravens versus the Jets.
Yeah.
I sat down to this game. Number one, let me describe.
Did you watch the whole game?
Absolutely, I did.
Okay.
Let me describe Maryland real quick. I watched are you kidding me? From start to finish.
I'm impressed. That game was ugly.
It was ugly. I mean, but you have to. It's week one. It's week one. This is all season. This is we win with Lamar, and we trade him for 3 first-round draft picks after we win the Super Bowl. I digress. We'll get into that later.
Trade him to Dallas right now.
I'm not trading him to Dallas. They have nothing to offer. I go in. First of all, it's raining in Maryland. It's misting. Let me just set up the scenario. It's misting. I pick up. What the heck did I pick up? I picked up some food. I come home. It's misting. It takes me 30 minutes to get home. It's ridiculous. I missed 3 minutes of the first quarter. I'm already pissed.
You didn't have it on the phone?
What?
You didn't have it on the phone?
I'm driving. If I get locked in, that's not going to be a good day. The point being
ADHD will get the best of you.
Right. That's correct. I walk into the house, and
I'm
what do I
dyslexic too, by the way?
But I see this shit show of a game going on right here, where Lamar Jackson looks absolutely asleep behind the wheel. Our whole defensive secondary, who I have been practically praising like they are God himself, all throughout our phone conversations, all throughout last week, couldn't make a single damn tackle the whole first half.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at John Harbaugh every time they put the camera on him, and you can see he's getting pissed and more pissed and more pissed as Joey Flacco's standing there. And by the way, for all the Jets fans who booed Joe Flacco during that game, you got to understand something. He should have been dead after 3 minutes of the game starting, and yet he was throwing the ball. Dude, he was moving into practically the red zone. I'll take a take. Go ahead.
Dude, Joey Flacco's numbers, dude. 37 for 59.
I know.
All 59 times.
I know, dude. They had to. They had to trust it. He's got a ring. Nobody else on that team's got a ring. They're hoping that he brings in something good. They have no running game.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Dude,
they only ran the ball 17 times.
They only ran the ball 17 times. Exactly. Now, let's look at Baltimore quickly. Let's talk about that run game. Obviously, a big loss for everybody. We did not have Dobbins at the start of week one. Again, my sleeper for everybody who has him on fantasy. I'm not sold on that product yet. It's only week one. He's coming off of a season-ending injury. He will be back this coming week against Miami. He will have 5 tugs. It will be no big deal. The point being, don't place that bet, by the way. The point being, is that we showed diversity of love in our run game. Obviously, Kenyon Drake had 11 carries, 31 yards. He also had some, great spots from the air, but we were using him all around as we could. Davis went for 11. Jackson went for 17, obviously. Our rush wasn't what it is patented on, but I liked that. That was something that I was into. I liked that Lamar was looking down.
Oh, no.
As we noticed, they were at times with Sauce being the number one for Andrews. He didn't have that number one receiver. I liked that he stayed in the pocket. But at times, dude, I'm watching this and he's sailing the ball over people's heads. And I got to have Justin Tucker come out and cross it up. And I got to go, God is with you while he makes the kick. We should be putting a tug in the back of the end zone. Instead, he's coming out and putting up 3. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? We end that game with a win, week one. A win is a win. God bless. But let me just say this. The Ravens secondary plays that way against any AFC team. We play that way against the Bills coming week 4. We play that way against Miami. I don't care what I said about Tua. Tyreek Hill's going to eat us alive. Tua's going to pull a Patrick Mahomes and see nobody's open, give a little pitch pass out to Tyreek. He's going to go for a million miles if the secondary can't cover. What were we doing? I don't know. I need us to step it up. I think that's for some reason, I'm very frustrated and angry, as you can see. I think that the contract signing had a big deal to do with it. It should have been a 50-3 game. That's where I'm going to digress. And I'm just going to say that we might have retained Williams. We might have retained Clark. We might have retained Humphrey, and we might have retained Harris, but none of them played at the level that I know that they can play at. That's a god-awful AFC team. We can't play that way against the Bengals. We can't play that way against the Steelers. And we absolutely cannot when we start playing against teams like the Bills, like KC, like possibly the Raiders, if you were to see them in the playoffs, like possibly the Denver Broncos, and definitely as well on top with the Bills and with the Chiefs, like the Chargers. Can't happen, won't happen. The Ravens need to step up, realize that this is our year. We're at full strength, and never play that type of football again. If I was John Harbaugh, I would have eaten all their asses in a chewing them out. Let me run that back. Chewing them out.
Ass eating season's over now, dude. Come
That's
on.
right. That's
We're
right.
getting into the winter.
Of just being angry.
Yeah.
What do you think about my rant?
A lot. I like it. I love it. I think it's funny that you're way more mad about a 24-9 victory than I am about a 38-35 victory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I should be pissed. The Eagles blew two, not one, but two 17-point leads. And they let the Detroit Lions. Now, they're a better team now this year. They've finally got some pieces together. Now, that's probably why I'm not as mad, honestly, because I do think that they're a solid team. And I was a little nervous going into it to begin with. But I'm more content than you are, where your team went out. They played fine. I thought they played okay. But the difference in expectations between us right now with our teams is astounding, where we'll get to in a little bit when it comes to the outlook of both of our teams moving forward throughout their divisions. I guess you do need to hold that team to a higher standard now, right? Because you do have the Steelers that just beat the Bengals.
Look at our competition in division, correct?
We're in the Super Bowl. The Browns came out and they pulled out a clutch win with Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback. So I do understand you holding them to a higher level there where you do have to blow them out. Now, and that's kind of where I find it funny is that you got a nice win, a cushiony win. You didn't really have to sweat it out, where I'm tweeting out on Twitter, at Brendan Petrilli, make sure you go follow me, that I'm like, the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl at halftime, you know, but then all of a sudden I'm like, I hope they don't blow this. You're sweating it out. You got to do a QB sneak with a minute left to make sure you close it out. But I'm still happy with the win.
Listen, let me throw out. Okay, I don't want to be all negative. I want to address that real quick, and then let me throw out some positives, and then we'll go to a different game. Here's what I'll say. The reason why I'm so adamant about it, dude, is because at the end of the day, you look at those rosters, and you and I both know this is right. The Ravens just went against a D1 college roster.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
They only beat them by exactly. So for all the Baltimore fans that are in here that are watching, we obviously there's going to be more Baltimore fans than there are Philly fans. They're a better fan base. Obviously, we know this. Flood the comments. Go Ravens. Super Bowl III coming. 3 in 25 years. They only got 1 in 50. I digress.
If Go Birds isn't trending, I'm going to be mad.
Here's what I'm going to say.
The real Birds.
This is what I'm happy about. Duvernay showed number 13. He's a 2020 year draft pick, 3rd round. He showed that he's got this possibility of separation. Okay. And I loved that. I loved this young tenacity of Lamar looking downfield. This is the one thing that I will say that I love is that Lamar in a game where he could have had 7 touchdowns from his feet. These guys, yes, they had a decent defense. I'll give the Jets that. But it's Lamar Jackson. He would have ran over the field all day on you. And instead he decided, no, I'm going to sit in the pocket and I'm going to work kinks at throwing. But what do we see with that? We went over the top a lot. It's week 1. I'll take it. He overshot Bateman once. Would have been a Super Bowl. Would have been a touchdown. He did eventually get Bateman a tug. But I liked Duvernay's separation. I liked that Lamar was able to find different targets outside of obviously Mark Andrews. But the biggest thing I'm going to say, man, is here's what it comes down to. Last year, the Bengals scored 82 points on us combined in the season. And against a team that is nowhere close to them, the Jets, you only put up 24. You've got to be able to have more diversity of points scored. I'm happy that there's a possibility of a new up-and-coming take heat off the number 1 option, Cheers. From Mark Andrews. But I got to see more, man, because at the end of the day, you're going against a much harder defense coming week 2 for a home opener against Miami. They have top 5 receiver on their team. They got a top 15, top 17 quarterback with them, and they've got a great coach. So we've got to come ready to play. We've got to really start from the drawing board, and we got to be ready to tackle. That's my biggest takeaway. Is more than anything, the last thing that I'll say
I
is
got a loaded question here for you before you
go
get to that.
go.
Loaded question. You threw the ball 30 times, you ran the ball, what, 20,
Right.
21? Do you think that outcome of it not being as crisp and the offense not clicking as much is because you kind of relied on Lamar throwing the ball in that offense instead of doing what you did the past couple of years, where this game you probably have 3-4 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
This game you have 0 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, where it was more on Lamar. He was finding Bateman. He was finding Duvernay, when before you were having guys like Drake, Davis, and Hill carrying the ball 10 times each. Now it was just Drake with 11. The other 2 guys had 2. Is that the changeup of the offense? Does that worry you a little bit?
No, it doesn't worry. We'll say is this. I would say that question is that your question slash statement is true if Lamar did not look so lackadaisical in the first half. If he didn't look lackadaisical, he just looked like, hey, I'm in it. My guys are dropping balls. I missed some targets, but man, I'm in it. His body language wasn't the way it was. I've never seen Lamar's body language like that. And it really was off-putting because I've always said, dude, and I tested this, Lamar is one of the best quarterbacks that you could ask for. He's a leader. He goes to the podium. He blames stuff on himself. He wants guys to be better. He wants to surround people. He's a leader. For as young of a kid as he is, he's a leader. But he looked lackadaisical, man. So I can understand if you're really in it and we're trying a new offense, you're not going to score as much, of course. But the difference being is that it really looked like they weren't putting in much effort. And the last thing that I'll just say is this. I think that Harbaugh has showed them, listen, guys, if we want to have a chance to get to an AFC title, can't be a run-centric team because the rest of the AFC is murderers from the air. They're murderers. They're murderers. They're going to be able to score a minimum of 2 more touchdowns per game from the air than we ever will be. So we've got to step that up. And to the last point, the thing that I'll say, we talked about this, earlier today over the phone. I was very happy with John Harbaugh's decision to not play our starters in the preseason for how many guys that we lost, but we saw league bound. That was not good for the teams that did that. Teams that did that struggled, and the Ravens were one of them.
Well, let's dive into that in a couple seconds here. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do that, I think our teams are in very similar spots. Quarterback-wise, defensive-wise, they got the talent all over the place. It's whether the quarterback's going to be able to do it. I have more faith in your quarterback than I do mine. To be real with you.
Totally agree.
But when it comes down to that, I like my weapons a lot more than yours. So it's going to come down to
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, there's no question. All right,
it's going to be interesting where we move forward throughout the season here. I'm excited. Monday Night Football coming up, but let's dive into in a couple seconds here where that Russ versus guys playing in the preseason, because there's a lot of very interesting games, a lot of upsets, and we're going to hit a quick break. It's going to be minuscule to you people. So make sure while we're gone in a split second, click that subscribe button, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at Brendan Petrilli, at Harry Heaps, at BSP Podcast, at Cold One Conversations.
And the last thing is these breaks, this is where the $100 million deal comes in. This is where we get a spot.
I love how this works out, man. I absolutely love it. It just proves it like one more time after another, how we're starting from the bottom here. Right? And we're going to work from the bottom and we're making our way back up because we need that $100 million deal that you keep raving about. We need that Polar sponsorship. We need the Yeti sponsorship.
We do. Look at it.
Shout out to Zach Brown Band. We love you. We need the Natty Light sponsorship. We need our logo. Isn't this a banging logo?
We need all t-shirts, hoodies, Carhartt hoodies. Dude, we want it all, man.
Yeah. We're set up for success here. We got to make it happen. We got to grind it out. And that's what we're here for at Cold One Conversation.
Pat McAfee, who? Pat McAfee, who?
Hey, we love you, Pat. If you want to bring us into your network, we'd love to be there. We'd love to help you out.
We'd love to have money. Let's continue.
Yeah. But I just love how stuff works out like that. I'm Brendan Petrilli. We got Harry Heaps. We're going to keep it rolling here, keep it moving. Let's dive into the last couple games here of last week, and then we're going to dive into our favorite overs, our favorite unders, our favorite favorites, and our favorite unders, just like they do at the boys at Part of My Take, who should sponsor this, by the way. Shout out PFT and Big Cat. We love you. We love you guys. Maybe we'll get some Part of My cheesesteaks if you guys are nice to us. So
shout out Barstool Sports Advisors and Stu. Reveal. Shout out to them.
We got it coming. We're the next best thing. We're here. Everybody tag us with them.
Yeah.
Let them know that we're here and we're coming for them. We love to work with them too. But let's rock and roll here, Harry. Next game on the docket.
That is
what are we
one
thinking?
place, real quick. If we got a chance to work with people like that, I know that we make these jokes about the whole money thing, but like it, it's all about, listen, you give us the opportunity. We're coming up there. We'll get you cigarettes. We'll get you whatever you need. Just give us the opportunity. Okay, let's get into it.
We're the junkyard dog. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
We're no grind.
What do we want to do here, Trilly? I'm thinking you're right. I'm thinking that we go to some bets now. Are we going to talk a little bit about that rust first?
For what? This past week?
Yeah. Are we ready to hit these bets? I'm ready to hit these bets. I'm ready to talk about the future. I'm ready to talk about the now.
Yeah. All right. So the rest of the last week, honestly, we could dive into it for another 45 minutes plus, but
we could. Let's hit one last one.
All right. Which one you want to talk then?
Green Bay.
Oh, yeah. I'm in.
We got to talk about Green Bay quickly.
Locked in. You go for it.
I'm gonna go quick. Aaron does what Aaron does best. When he's uncomfortable, he goes to what he's comfortable with. We saw he's having drop passes. He's been alluding to it all throughout training camp and the preseason. And his young receivers couldn't get the ball. And then Aaron's like, I got plenty of time to get back into this. And he's going to the same guys he knows. He's going to Cook. Not Cook. What the heck did I just say? The running back.
Not AJ Dillon's the other one. Jones, Aaron Jones.
He went to Jones a significant amount of times. The tight end, I forget his name. He's been on the team for about 4 years.
Robert Tunyon, Big
correct.
Bob Tunyon.
He's just going to the guys he knows. He doesn't want to build relationships. This has been a thing that's been known about him. Colin, that's a Colin thing. I believe in that. I didn't used to think that was true until he couldn't retain Devontae. I mean, dude, how do you leave Aaron? You got to leave for a certain, because dude, you know that they were going to go out and get that money.
They seem like they're boys, though. Like the way he talks about Devontae, he loves Devontae.
He does love Devontae, but
Devontae doesn't love him back.
I don't think so, man. No, I don't.
I mean, obviously, if he wanted to go play with Derek Carr, maybe they go to church together.
Obviously, I mean, dude, but that doesn't matter, man, because you know that Green Bay was going to get the money, and you also know that the level of quarterback. I mean, come on, it's completely different. Aaron's in a completely different league than Carr. I mean, we're talking about possibly between the number 1, 2, and 3 guy compared to the guy who's barely making 10. You know what I mean? Okay, here's my point. I told you, man, Vikings are my steal to win the NFC North. And the way that, I mean, Kirk looked like Kirk. He did good. But I don't think there's anybody else in that division that can kind of keep up with them right now. Their offense looks solid. Their defense was just throwing around Green Bay like it was nothing. I love that video of what's his name knocking over Aaron, and then Aaron tries to get back up and he's like laughing on the field. It's hilarious, dude. It's not a good look for Green Bay, man. Not a good look. Getting slaughtered on the road. I think that you're right. I think that they do beat Chicago, but Aaron doesn't have the weapons, man. And it's interesting because for how much he complains about not having winning rosters, I'll tell you something, dude, for the amount of money that he's made, if he just took a little bit less and took a page out of Tom Brady's book, and I've been preaching this for years, if Aaron took some less money, you'd be able to pay a lot more guys, and you wouldn't be in this position right now. But hey, you wanted to re-sign, you wanted the $150 million deal, you wanted a $200 million deal with $150 guaranteed. You made your bed, man.
Yeah, but when it comes to that, they still had the money to bring in Devontae still,
I know.
Even with Aaron getting the money, they still had money for Devontae. It's not like it was one or the other.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Aaron decides, hey, maybe I don't take 200, maybe I take 100. Maybe you go out. Who knows? Maybe Juju goes and signs with you. Who knows? Maybe OBJ.
The ayahuasca didn't tell him that?
I don't think so, man. I think he's keeping it on the side this season. He got too much pushback.
Yeah. He's been out in the media a lot this past offseason, too.
Dude, he's been doing a ton of media from
A
big
lot.
names. From big
Yeah.
names.
Yeah. He was on the boys, PMT. I mean, him and Big Cat going back and forth.
He was on
What?
he was on the biggest podcast in the world recently.
Yeah, he was on Rogan too. Yeah, he was all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing with that game, right, is the Vikings defense. They're finally getting back to that defense where, in 2016, 2017 that they had that got the not purple people eaters, but top 5 defenses that got after you. They got Zadarius Smith from the Packers. He had a back injury the past year and a half. Let him walk. He comes back. He wanted that vengeance on the Packers. He went and he got it. And the rest of those guys on that defensive line, Harrison Smith flying around in the backfield. They got Patrick Peterson as your number 2 corner out there, who is a stud for 10 plus years now. I mean, he's getting older. But when it comes down to it with this Vikings team, right, their whole offense was Justin Jefferson. As a Packers team, do you let that happen?
He had 184 yards on the day. One of my mortar locks, by the way, always taking 55.5 yards and over, dude. He had 184 yards on the day, and I think 2 tugs, if I'm right.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane the amount of times that you're watching it on TV, right? And then all of a sudden they pan to the left or they pan to the right when the ball's in the air, and he is the only one on the shot.
Only one.
Open grass for like at least 10 yards either way, and he's just cooking. How do you let that happen? He is, if not the number 1 receiver in the league right now, top 3.
Top 3.
You have to have at least 2 guys on him at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, the rest of their offense was kind of meh. And you saw that when it got to the 3rd and 4th quarter, where the Green Bay Packers had a shot to come back and they kept the game in reach, but they just weren't able to get to it because the pass rush was getting to Aaron Rodgers too much. And they weren't able to give Aaron time to get that connection where maybe he didn't get enough work in with those guys yet. He kind of talked about it on the McAfee show this past week where, it takes time to build
about it every day in the locker room.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, same mistakes. These guys can't catch. They suck. Let's cut them. Let's get other guys in here.
He's not saying that. Come on, relax.
No, but he practically is, dude. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I think that he has a right to voice his opinion and call it how it is. He's in one of the weirdest situations in the world where he doesn't have a direct owner. I get it. He's got to voice his opinion. But, dude, when you're telling these guys that they suck, I mean, that if you're going week after week and you're saying that they're not catching, you're saying they suck. So if you're saying
it's 1 week, dude.
No, but he was saying that, I mean, all off season. Or sorry, not all off season, all through training camp.
He was saying that they weren't on. Yeah.
He was like, they're not on the same page, miss assignments, miss this, miss that.
Yeah.
Dude, you say that all week. What do you expect? What do you expect, man? Your leader's telling you, hey, you're doing nothing right. Well, then shit. What am I doing right?
Yeah. No, facts. That's like, I was going to take a shot, but I'll let it go.
Yeah, let it go. Whatever it is, let it go.
Shout out to Boy Jackson. But when it comes down to but when it comes down to
go Eagles, go Eagles.
When it comes down to it, right? They got to rely a little bit more on that run game. You got a 2-headed monster in the backfield. They can't just let Aaron throw it 50 plus times. They can't. I mean, Aaron can do it, but until he gets on the same page with these guys, I mean, you got a 50-year-old Randall Cobb out there running routes for you now. Bob Tunyon is out there on an ACL injury about 8 months ago. You need to let these guys that he has been playing with get their feet back under them, because you know what? That's all you got right now until the young guys come into form. He seemed to have faith in it when they were going into the draft process. That's obviously why he signed with them again. When he could have went to teams like the Eagles or Denver or wherever. Sorry, the Eagles in there. But that's why he came back. That's why he had trust in Green Bay when that kind of is all gone under the rug, right? Nobody really talks about it when that was like the biggest deal of him not knowing what he was going to do after this last offseason. Back-to-back MVPs, you come up short again in the playoffs, and then now you let your best wide receiver go. You got to figure it out again. You have a defense that is much better, and they finally woke up in the third quarter.
They're incredible, dude. They shut down Dalvin Cook. Like, the thing about Green Bay this year, their defense will be tremendous in the NFC. It will be. It will be. But at the end of the day, dude, if he can't score, you can't win a Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
you can listen in the NFC this year, you cannot score and you can win. I mean, we saw that with Tampa Bay. You don't have to put up big numbers.
The Eagles can score points, dude.
Well, so you're making an even more big extension of my point. Is the few teams that can score, they're going to run it up on you if you can't stay in the fight.
You got to play defense.
And they can do it, but at the same time, they got to be able, just as you said, if the Eagles are going to score on you, you got to be able to keep up with them. And listen, man, I think that
bite me in the ass. I hope they don't choke.
Do I think that Aaron is donezo? No, it's Aaron. We're talking about one of the greatest throwers of the football that will ever be.
RELAX. Relax. That's where his mind's at. He's going to come out Sunday Night Football and absolutely insert himself.
He's going to own him.
Yeah.
I
want him to. He's going to score a rushing touchdown. Right, he's going to go into. He's going to put the glove on. He's going to go snap the glove, get his syringe, and he's going to right into himself.
You think he does? You think he does the move? Do you remember the move he did 2 or 3 years ago? And then we'll move off. We'll go to some bets. But
yeah.
What was the move that he did? I remember it was huge in the media about 2 or 3 years ago. You know how he only does the one strap for the chin?
Yeah.
And he went out there and he didn't have his strap. And it was because some receiver didn't have his helmet right and he was pissed. And he went out there and he didn't even have a strap on. He had it set up so that his helmet was just on and he went and threw a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And it was like supposed to be a statement like, get your shit together. Like to the whole team, like, I'm not even going to put the strap on. Like he was just like, I'm gonna throw it down the field. You know what I mean? Let that one sit in. But yeah, man.
He's not gonna strap up and hop in the saddle.
No, back in the saddle again. Yeah. Aaron's done. He's washed.
No, he's not done.
I'm just kidding. He's not done.
Yeah, but I mean, an absolutely crazy week. I mean, the rest of the games were all very close. I mean, that 1:00 witching hour was absolutely insane, but that's mostly because of the rust and everything we've talked about. We didn't even really dive too much into the kickers other than that Bengals-Steelers game.
I don't even want to talk about it. Depressing.
It was all across the league. I mean, that'll even out throughout the year, of course, as it always does. If it doesn't, wow, it's going to be a hell of a ride. But anyway, let's now move forward throughout the rest of this episode here. And let's move into this upcoming week 2 now, right? We're gonna steal something from the boys at PMT. Love you, Big Cat, PFT. We love you guys. Shout out to the rest of the boys there. But we're gonna do our favorite unders, our favorite overs, our favorite favorites, and our favorite underdogs. And Harry and I have kind of gone through, picked out our teams. We're gonna talk about them, and hopefully we'll get through, if not all the games, most of the most important games going throughout the upcoming week. So Harry, I'm gonna start this off with you here. Good. What is going to be your favorite over of the week?
My favorite over? It's a good one. I'm going to save. I'm glad you asked me what my favorite over is going to be, because I'm going to save my favorite under for my last pick, because that is the one.
Nobody likes talking about the under.
I know, but I got a good under. That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm going to make some people some money on my favorite under. But let's talk
about the under tonight, Thursday Night Football. I mean, everybody was betting that over at like 53.5, and all of a sudden you're thinking, all right, we're screwed at the beginning. It's only 10-3 at halftime. The boys come out firing. You're like, all right, we might got a shot again, and then the defense come back up and it falls short. So that when you're betting on an under, it's never exciting because you want to watch points. But when you're betting on an over, you're looking for every opportunity, those pick sixes, those 80-yard bomb touchdowns within a second. So let's get into these overs first. The most exciting games of the week. Go after.
My most exciting game of the week right now. Well, it's not the most exciting game, but it's my most exciting over. And that's Tampa Bay on the road to the New Orleans Saints. Yeah. Right now, the line is at 44.5. I'm going to tell you, I think that Tom's going to come out. He's pissed, man. You can tell. Something is going on. I don't know what it is, but something's going on.
Giselle said go Tom Brady on Twitter, though.
Dude, everybody who's talking about, let's not even get to that. This is a sports show. They're fine. They're iconic. I don't want to talk about it. The point is, Tom's pissed. Tom's pissed that he only threw one touchdown last week on the road.
No,
Tom's
it was.
pissed.
You heard it in the post game. Yeah,
Absolutely, you did. Tom's pissed that he got knocked on his ass as many times as he did.
Yeah.
You saw it in the second quarter. He's yelling at his offensive lineman. That one dude went down, by the way. I think he was just done. He called it quits. Remember the dude? He got like stepped on in the game. They had to cart him off. I don't think that they could get a cart big enough for that guy. The guy with the big beard. The point being is that Tom's ready to do his thing. I think that Nola will get a point or two. I don't think that Tampa Bay's defense is going to be able to play at the same level that I think that they'll be good, but they're not going to be as good as they were last week. Nola will get some points on the board. I would guarantee that they put about 10 or 13 on, but I think Tom's going to rain it. I think that Tom is going to lay it on. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at a minimum. I think, first of all, another guy that's got to eat is Lenny. Lenny didn't get a single tug last week. You know he's going to get one.
He got his yards though, and he was running hard for a guy that came in fat and overweight. He looked fine.
But that's my point: is that he's hungry. He's ready to get his tug.
Yeah.
And I could see Brady throwing for 3. So if I was you, I'd hammer that over. I'd take the over right now, 44.5. Put $10,000 on it. Put $20,000
responsibly.
Send it to me. I'll put it down. I won't really. I'll keep it. But take the over. You're gonna make some money.
What's the Venmo for the people?
What's the Venmo? That's off the record. We don't talk about that. But I gotta throw.
You're one of those guys. But no, my counter to that, right? The Saints have been dominating Tampa Bay over the past couple of years with Tom.
Yes,
there. Dominating. He hasn't had an answer to that defense. I mean, I think that's why the line is so low. And Tampa Bay has a very good defense too, where they can turn around and get turnovers on Jameis Winston, even with the LASIK, you know? Yep. You think Tom's really on that much of a vengeance where I guess he's got everything back in him now that I'm thinking about it, where he's got that, where they've had his number. He's coming off a bad week. He's pissed off. He's getting some guys back a little healthier.
Coming out of retirement. Don't forget that. And you had a horrible week 1 show out of retirement. He's not going to let that stand. He's ready.
You're talking me into it for sure.
He's ready to. Let me tell you something. Tom is ready to show people why he came back, why the NFC is wide open, why he thinks that Tampa Bay is going to be a favorite to make it to the Super Bowl. They're my favorite to make it to the Super Bowl. I'll tell you, if there's one team that I'm putting my money on that I truly believe is going to make it to the Super Bowl, it's Tampa Bay.
You don't bet against Tom.
You don't bet against Tom. I never have. And this is the week to do. And this is the week where he's ready to do it. Again, we've said it. The Saints are a team that if they just had that guy, they had that guy in there, they'd be a Super Bowl caliber team, but they're not that guy yet. Tom's going to be pissed. He's ready to lay it on. He's ready to show people he's still got a cannon. And I'm going to tell you something too. I know that he doesn't talk about it, but he likes showing up other guys. That's not really part of his game. He's not a prideful dude like that. He lets the rings talk for him. But dude, he goes out week 2, has a better week 2 than Aaron, has a better week 2 than Matt Stafford. These guys that could possibly hold him up. He's ready, dude. Take the over.
Yeah. No, he is looking to respond for sure. I like that. All right, let's move into my favorite here, or my favorite over. The Miami Dolphins against your Baltimore Ravens.
I'm surprised, dude. I was
44 and a half.
I was almost there. All right, break it down for me.
You got both teams that are ready to explode on offense.
Yeah.
Lamar, as you said, had a frustrating week 1. They were kind of figuring things out with the new receivers. They weren't running the ball as well as they could. Yeah. They weren't getting the same connection with Mark Andrews as he had in the past. They weren't feeding him. And now you get another week under your belt, live action, or real games are underway. Now you got a shot to actually go and sling it or get back to that run where they go, okay, maybe we shouldn't try to pass it as much right now. Sure. We can still do it. We have it in our back pocket, but maybe we can go and run the football again. Use that dominant O-line to push the guys downfield. I think that's a big thing.
Dobbins coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah, and Dobbins is back. You have an O-line. Once you get that O-line moving upfield on a run game, you're getting 3-4 yards at a chunk. That just makes them more confident in the pass. Guys are flying down the field, throwing extra chip blocks after you're picking up extra yardage. I think it's there for the Ravens to finally go and explode on offense like they should have last week. Yeah. And that Miami offense with the new head coach, with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, get the Waddle going. You got to love that. That's the new best dance. Yeah, the little when Frank the Tank's doing the little Waddle.
It's
You
awesome.
got a
Dude.
bunch of grown ass men waddling like a penguin. There's nothing better than that. But that offense is just primed for at least 21 points itself.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, both teams are primed for 3 touchdowns. All you need is a field goal or 2 with one of the best kickers in the league on one of the teams. I love that over. I love both of these teams. I love both of these offenses. Now you can make a case where, both defenses may be able to bounce back and get a turnover or 2, but I also like a pick 6 opportunity. What do you got on your Ravens?
Well, I'm gonna hit all the angles you hit, but I'm gonna start with that pick 6 opportunity. I hate saying this because pick 6s are probably my favorite thing to ever see in football. But if a pick 6 is coming, it's coming from Miami. And I mean, there's just no question about that.
No,
because
I agree
Lamar is gonna look to take risks as he should from the air, and because of that might, dude. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I put that Miami front 7 against anybody. I will. Any week they're ready to play. That defense is ready to play, man. They're ready to put you under pressure. They're ready to make you afraid. They're ready to make you make a bad decision where hopefully their secondary is going to be able to clean up the scraps. What I will say is this, man. I like it. I almost took this game, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to be a homer. But I'm going to say one thing real quick. This is the game where we find out. And I hate that I'm putting so much pressure on it, but it's true. This is the game where we find out if the Baltimore Ravens are ready to be a playoff team. And this is why I'm telling you this. Because right now, this offensive line is going to be able to prove whether or not, when you're going up against a top 10 defense in the league, are you able to protect our quarterback? Are you able to let him sit in the pocket? If he's able to, they dedicate that much time. I think that they're going to try to get after him. I think that Andrews is definitely going to – I think that Andrews is going to eat. He's another guy who's going to be hungry like Tom. He's going to eat. But, dude, I wouldn't be surprised. I take Tyreek Hill to at least have 2 tugs. I think he's going to be shifting all over the place. I'm not hot right now on my secondary.
Really?
No, I'm not. I don't think that he's going to have like a field day where he's, running for over like 250 yards. But I could see him, dude, having one long, that let's say that they're on their own 40 and somehow, some way he's shifty and he gets the end zone. And then, dude, if they're in the red zone and he shifts around, he just gets a quick, he just does a wide out. He does a 90 degree, as I like to call it, the 90 degree, the boop and boop. He does a little 90 degree, the upside down L. He get 2 tugs for sure. I think that over is a good call.
Yeah. Nah, that's primed to be an exciting game in that first hour there of the NFL Absolutely. Week 2. All right, let's transition here. Let's go to our favorite underdogs, Harry.
Underdogs. Okay.
Who are we thinking? Who's getting points this week that we think will cover the spread? I'm kind of looking through here. First reactions, looking through. I kind of like the Panthers against the Giants. The Steelers are getting points to the Patriots.
I know.
But the Patriots are looking to bounce back. I don't know. What do you think, Harry? What do you think? There's a lot. We were talking earlier before we started the broadcast here. There's a couple teams that stood out that had big spreads that you were surprised. Is that where you're gonna go?
No, so I'm gonna take one of the ones because I'm saving the other one for my final. But there's 2 teams right here that I got to be honest with you. I would put money on, and the drastic difference between the lines is crazy. I'm gonna start.
Well, you're living in Maryland, so you can't put money on it. You got to move to PA. You got to move to Philly. We'll do it in person.
I know. I'm trying to talk
once we get that $100 million deal.
Moving to Philly, she doesn't want to hear it. But hey, we got to get back to the show. Let's talk about this. Okay, I'm going to start off with the team that I'm first looking at with a pretty wide gap, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but when I see lines like this, Trilly, I get nervous, man. It's Vegas is begging you to take the favorite, and dude, I got to tell you, I'd throw money on Atlanta plus 10.5. That's a huge number, man. Yeah. 10.5 points after they're coming off of a loss.
Yeah. Well, they were winning most of the game too. Against a lot of people that thought were a very good New Orleans team.
Absolutely. No question, the better team in the game going into it.
They took it to them to start it.
Dude, I got to tell you, there's something about whenever I see numbers at any time that go above a tug, that go above 6.5, I start questioning what's the information that these Vegas insiders have. That was a little Fresh Prince of Bel-Air timer. What's the information that these guys have? Because you know that they're paying $50,000 to a trainer on the staff. Hey, he doesn't feel so good this week. His finger's broken. He can't throw the ball right. He's not running right. The MCL's going. He's going to be done by 3 minutes in the game. You put a big line on that because they want for bettors to hammer the favorite. They want the underdog to get no bets. They want all the money in there. And then somehow, some way, you end that 4-hour fucking trial, of watching the game. And you're like, son of a bitch, can't believe I just lost my money. I put money on Atlanta. What do you think about that? And then I want to hit you with my other one.
I just think with Atlanta, right, and the Rams versus the Rams there, the Rams came off that first week, right, and they lose bad. They're looking to respond. 10 points, 10.5 is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. That's the biggest thing where I kind of agree with you there. But I can also see this being like a 31-7 game.
7 game.
Yeah.
How it should have been for the Ravens. I won't go back.
How it should have been for the Saints week 1 against the Falcons. Right. But that game being said, it kind of skews you a little bit there where it makes you want to take the Falcons because they were able to fight with the Saints. And home underdogs were huge week 1, as we saw. Now, the Rams are home again, which is kind of wild, getting back-to-back home games, which is a little home cooking for the defending Super Bowl champs. But, yeah, I would still go Rams, just the explosiveness factor. I think they want to figure out where they go from here with the second option other than Cooper Kupp. But I like where your head's at for sure. 10.5 points definitely makes you think. You're looking up and down this whole week. There's a lot of
big spreads, dude.
Big, huge.
Yes.
Even like Cleveland versus the Jets, right?
Yep. Oh my God, dude.
6.5.
6.5.
That's a lot of points.
5.5, yeah.
A lot of points. After that, you go Carolina Giants. At 1.5, Carolina's getting.
You're stealing my thunder now.
What? Is that where you're going?
That's my next one.
Yeah. Well, go for it.
The Giants, they're not a team that can repeat, man.
I agree.
They're not a team that can repeat. And Carolina, again, is a team. Now, we want to talk about pissed off. That's kind of been, I feel like, our segment into this second section since we took the break.
Should that be the caption? NFL teams pissed off. Look to bounce back for week 2.
NFL teams looking to piss on other teams.
Nah, a little too much.
Yeah, we might get. See, that doesn't get a sponsorship. Okay. The point being,
we're willing to work here, people. We're willing
to work here. I think that Baker's pissed though. Not to keep going back to it. He's angry that he did not get done against the team that said, as you said last week, goodbye. You got us to the playoffs, but goodbye. And they lost. I think that he's ready to make an example out of this Giants team. They're going to be on the road. He's going to come out. He's going to have the best gear on. He always wears gear like it looks sick. Like it just looks so good. You know what I mean? I like this, man. They're 1.5. I think it's interesting. I think, again, this is a team where obviously the line's close. It's not that huge. It's not like the game that we were just talking about. But to me, it's like, guys, we realize who's the quarterback for the Giants, right? Like it's Danny.
He threw a pick with like 5 minutes left that you thought that it was over for the Giants.
I know.
And they were able to come back and win somehow because the Titans gave it to them.
Listen, let me just see this real quick. Oh, stand by quickly. Let's just see something. But
the biggest thing when you're looking at Baker there, right, is where I 100% agree with you. With the underdog factor there is he's looking to get that bounce back dub.
Yes.
Baker doesn't like losing. He's healthy. He looks like he's healthy.
And not the bad teams.
But when he came out and he had that rust and he doesn't lose to bad teams. And the Giants are a bad football team. Now they tried to change the culture, which Dable, great call on him to go for 2 because you have nothing to lose week 1 against the Tennessee Titans there. The Titans, you go for it, you lose, whatever. It's a loss. You weren't expecting to win that game anyway against the Titans, who were the first seed in the AFC last season. Now you go out, you get it. Your team is juiced. You got the biggest balls ever. They're ready to rock and roll for you for the rest of the season. And that's where they're at now. Now, when it comes through it, that's a big high to come down from. And going into that can be a huge letdown.
Yep.
And that's where I 100% think that the New York Football Giants are looking at. Saquon had a very good week 1. They're feeding the ball left and right. I'm trying to get him in every fantasy league. I don't know if that's too much overhype of week 1, but I think Saquon's kind of back. He's playing for a contract. I don't think the Giants are going to give it to him. I think he might come to
They
the
can't. They can't.
He's going to come back to PA.
They will. They will give it to him. They're idiots. If he has a decent enough season, man, they will give him the contract.
Yeah, I guess.
And then he'll get hurt
come back
year.
to PA. I think Sanders will walk. The Eagles will give Saquon the deal, and we'll be rocking and rolling next year. That's why
you would love that. You'd buy that jersey in a heartbeat.
No. I've come to the realization that a big guy should have offensive lineman or defensive lineman. I got the whole Eagles offensive line. I got a Cox jersey. I'm gonna get a Jordan Davis jersey, a BG jersey. As a big guy, I can't be wearing a number 11.
No, you got to have 64 out of or 92.
Yeah, I can't be wearing an AJ Brown. I can't be wearing a number 2. I got to be wearing 69. I got to be wearing, a 68 Jordan Mailata, 94, 91.
If I saw you in a Hurts jersey, I'd walk up to you with tomato sauce and I'd dump it on it.
Well, I loved Carson Wentz, so I had the 11 for Wentz.
You did have the 11.
Yeah, but that was when a skinnier me. Now we've beefed up a little bit extra, but we're down 20 pounds in a couple of weeks here. I'm proud of myself.
God bless.
Hey, it's the way we've been eating. If you want tips, feel free to reach out DM. I don't know what I'm doing, so
put the tips in the comments. Subscribe. We'll answer back. You give us money, we'll sponsor.
Yeah, well, we're always looking to help people, helping people. So It is what it is. Money. All right, you got anything else on that game?
No. I want to hear your picks now.
Yep. All right, let's get into it here. My favorite underdog here. I'm looking at huge spreads, right?
Huge.
I think the Bears are going to get absolutely washed by the Packers on Sunday night. We were kind of talking about Tennessee versus Buffalo, where they're daring you to bet Buffalo there at 9.5. I'd bet Buffalo still. After that, my underdog that I'm looking at, I like the Steelers against the Patriots.
Good pick.
I like the Steelers over the Patriots.
Good pick.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Yep. The Terrible Towels will be going crazy against Billy Bell.
They're coming off a huge win over the AFC champions and the Bengals.
Hot, they're going to be ready.
That defense is missing their leader and TJ Watt. That hurts a lot. But Mike Tomlin knows how to rally the troops. He knows how to rally the troops. They're going to go, we don't have TJ. Somebody else prove that you're TJ. That's what he's going to say.
They're
going to go out and do it. Minkah Fitzpatrick's going to go and make some plays for you. Against Mac Jones, who's kind of looked hopeless week 1 against a pretty good defensive team in the Miami Dolphins. Another away game, back-to-back away games for the Pats. It's a little rough for a young QB. But I like that Steelers team to come out mad, at home, ready to rock and roll, and take it to the Patriots and Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick 0-2. That's the only thing that kind of makes me a little wary about it.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, man, and what I was trying to say before when I was stuttering, I'm doing it right now on my words. Maybe are we sure that these are not alcohol?
0-0.
Get the names right of the players. You're confusing the Watt brothers, but dude, I'm going to tell you something, man. I mean, something's not right about Belichick right now, not having his main offensive coordinator with him going over to the Raiders. Something's not good.
You don't know. Is it Joe Judge? Is it Patricia? Who's calling the plays? Is it Belichick?
Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia. I love him, dude. When I see him like this, pen is almost in the eye, practically coming out of the eye through the hat. I mean,
you think he goes from the forehead in one game this year?
I think can I get this thing? I mean, this is what I would be doing if I was Matt Patricia's
commit.
If I was, let's say, his handler, the guy who gets him cigarettes, I would make sure.
Do you think he's a cig guy or a dip guy?
Oh, he is 100% Marlboro Light, Marlboro Gold.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think he's transitioned to the Zyn?
In meetings, in team meetings. Yeah,
okay.
Team meetings.
Throws him in real quick.
Let's say.
Does he swallow it or what? Or you got to.
No, he would definitely hack. He would hack if he did that.
Yeah.
But dude,
Joe Judge would think he's like mocking like his play call, but he's like, I just got stuck. Sorry.
Back to the topic at hand. Dude, I love this pick. I think that the Steelers, man, I think that they could get hot early and then crash and burn. And this is a game to get them hot early. You just beat the team in your division who was just at the Super Bowl. You got after it, won at OT. Now you could be at home and beat arguably the best coach of all time. Go on a 2-0 streak, 2 games up without TJ Watt and without Najee the week before. Dude, this is a time when I think the Steelers are going to capitalize. I think that could be a great parlay, man. I mean, dude, you throw together. What if we did Falcons for the points, Steelers for the points, Carolina for the points, 3,333 down.
I got that in
I'm
mind.
asking the viewers to contribute. The subscribers, the 9 that we have, contribute.
We might have to open an OnlyFans for that kind of money.
Right.
All right, let's hit a quick break, and then we'll wrap it up with our favorites and our favorites and our unders. I gotta take a quick piss. We'll be right back on the BSP Podcast. All right, we're back. We're refreshed. We're refueled. We opened another one up. We're ready to rock and roll.
I hit blackjack on the first hand. Hold on, 6. Oh my gosh, we got 15 right here. Moment of truth. 20. I win. Yes.
And you never know. The dealer might get 21 and you're screwed. That's the way it works.
They don't hit after 17. They don't hit. So
yeah, but he might hit blackjack. Oh, you never know. But whatever. All right, we're back here. You're listening to Cold One Conversations. Harry Heaps. I'm Brendan Petrilli. Having a lot of fun with it here. We hit our favorite overs, our favorite underdogs. Now let's get into our favorite unders and our favorites. And we're working on the title for our immortal locks because we don't want to totally rip off Barcelona. Yeah, we love you guys a lot. We're trying to be creative. Man. What?
That could be litigation. They could sue.
I know. We're thinking of different things to call it. We're thinking like cold picks, but that gives a bad connotation to it. But it's also a part of the joke too. We'll figure it out. You let us know in the comments. There's a lot of stuff to comment. So make sure you click on that subscribe button, hit the bell. Let us know down below what you think.
Comment, baby. Tell us what you're thinking.
Yes, we're all about the people, and let's rock and roll here. We're trying to give you guys winners. We want you to give us winners. It's a big family here. It's a big community. That's what we want here at Cold One Conversations. Now, Harry, let's get into it. Our favorite unders. We're going to be quick and to the point here. We talked about last episode. We wanted to keep these episodes within 45 to an hour. We've gone over it. You know, we're never going to be able to do that.
We hammered the over. We hammered the over.
Always bet the over with us.
Always bet that's the truth. In Cold One's Conversations, we always bet the over.
And that's what we do here. And I hate betting unders. But it's probably the smart thing to do, to bet the unders here.
Yep.
And Harry is a way more smart. Man, that's not the way to say it. But anyway.
All right, let's get on with this, dude. Okay, Trilly, who is your favorite under? What are you doing? What are you throwing in a parlay? What are you seeing that the line is saying to you, hey, this is the under to take? These teams aren't ready to play. These offenses are going to shit the bed. These defenses are tuned up. Who do you like?
See, like when I'm looking at college games, right? If I see something in the 50s or 60s, I'm betting that over because I know those teams are going to score points.
Really?
But in the NFL, if I see 50, 52, 53, I'm going for the under every time. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, right? There's not a lot of games that are sitting in the 50s. No. I mean, there's 1, there's 2. There's only 2 games.
Yeah. What did I tell you, dude? What did I tell you last offseason? I go, dude, watch. These lines are going to be crazy this year. We're
Yeah.
going to see 50 lines all the time.
Yeah. So when if I'm going off of that logic, it's not helping me a lot. But when it comes down to it here, I'm going to stick with my gut. And that's going to be two bad football teams. One that's underperformed, honestly, and one that I thought was going to overperform. And the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 44.5.
Now that is an ice cold pick.
I think that under is a lock, honestly. I don't think Trevor Lawrence has got it. I think he's continued to underperform at the NFL level. You had the last year with the coaches up in the air. Dougie P's back. He's going to need some time to fully develop Trevor from going from Clemson to Urban to Doug. It's going to take some time. I don't think they got it. I don't think they have the weapons. I mean, I like ETN. I like Robinson, but the receivers are meh. The Colts, you got Taylor. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. That's not going to lead to a lot of points. The way you score points is throwing the football like Patty Mahomes and the Chargers, where you can score in one throw, 80 yards on one throw. Neither of these teams can do that. I love the under in this game. What do you think?
You know, man, listen, I'm going to follow in your footsteps with my pick, but we'll talk about this one for a second. I mean,
Go to yours. That's all we need to say.
Yeah, I think that it's sound logic, and I'm kind of going with the same thing here, man. Alongside pretty much every point that you made, same sort of point total. And I'm trying to pull it up right now, and here it is. I'm taking the under for the Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, the high.
I think that both of those, I think that would be a great parlay. Right now, under 45.5, dude, I see this being a 13-17 game.
I got 48. 48 for that game.
You got 48? Oh, 48 on. Oh, you're right. I was looking at the wrong one. 48, but still, I stand by what I said. I see this to be a 17-13 game, man. Yeah. I don't see this being a more than 2 touchdown game from either team. If I were to give any the nod, it would be the Lions, but I don't see it, man. I think that this defense in the Commanders is going to be pretty incredible. That's going to go against Detroit. I think that they're going to crumble under it. And at the same time, I don't think that Wentz is going to be able to pull anything together.
See, my biggest thing is last week, Carson went off with 4 touchdown passes. He also threw 2 picks back-to-back plays. And so that's the roller coaster ride that Carson Wentz will take you on. Yes. I loved it. I lived it.
You want to
But I also like that under. 48 points is a lot.
It is. And like the Giants, he can't repeat. He's not going to have a good game, man.
And I think with the Lions' point of view there too, I don't think they're putting up those same numbers where this game isn't going to be such a far margin where a team's going to be willing to take their foot off the gas to let a team score extra points like what happened week 1. So I like this game close. I like it within, 21-17 margin. Maybe Carson makes a big throw to Jahan Dotson, a lot of people's favorite in fantasy football, picked up this week. So we'll see where it goes from there.
I'm going 17-14 Commanders for the win. Right. Take the under.
All right. Now, for the last one before we hit our locks of the week, Harold, let's get into it here. Our favorites. Who is got that? Who's getting points? There's a lot of teams catching a lot of points this week, like big spreads.
Yeah, big spreads.
What are you feeling?
I'm going to tell you the team that I would never, I'm just going to tell you quickly the game that I wouldn't even touch. I wouldn't even look at it. And that's Cincinnati on the road at Dallas. I don't know enough about what's going into either of them. Dallas loses their quarterback. Cincinnati, horrible loss at home. The line is at 7.5. I don't even want to touch it. So we're not even going to discuss that. But the team that I am very interested in and the game that I'm very interested in is I think that there's something going on with this Texans on the road game to Denver. Number one, I think that Russ is going to be hungry. I think that he hates the game, week opening after he decides to move. Not only
he got booed,
but he's on the road back to Seattle and loses by 1 point. His team got out coached, but listen, he couldn't get it done. They
weren't able to throw the ball the way
they weren't able to throw the ball. That's right.
He threw for 300 yards, but no touchdowns.
No tugs. Exactly. I don't know, man. I don't know what I like here, but there's something about it that I do like. I'm going to be very honest with you, man. Somehow, some way, I can't believe I'm going to say this. but I think you take the over in this game. The over right now, or sorry, not the over, the total. What am I saying? Yeah, the over. What am I saying?
45.
It's at 45 right now, 45 and a half.
Do you like Denver at 10 though?
9.5? Yes, I do, because I think that Russ is going to be hungry, and I think that this is a worse enough team.
I think so too.
That he could cook with his arm with one hand tied behind his back.
Texans came out hot to start the year. They were one of those underdogs at home week 1. Came out and they got a tie. I mean, Mills Mafia, love them. You have no idea who the guy is. Yeah. Other than that, you got Brandon Cooks on that team.
So I'm going to switch it. I'm going to go. Yeah, Broncos minus 9.5.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russ is willing to go out there and sling the ball. Cortland Sutton didn't really get too involved last week. Jerry Jeudy had that one big 70-yard touchdown catch. They turned the ball over within the 5-yard line. Russ had PTSD from the Super Bowl. He was out there doing mental reps after the game. You know he was. He was like freaking out.
People were making fun of him, man, when he was in the pregame. Did you see him? He was like, he had his headphones on. And he was like in the middle of the field.
He's doing mental reps. Dude.
Yeah, we were going after him. I'm like, dude, let the guy do his thing. He just got traded. He's going against a team that he played for years, won a chip, and got to another Super Bowl. Leave him alone.
He did it in Seattle too, and people made fun of him there.
I know. I love the dude. I'll be honest. I think he's a phenomenal athlete and incredible.
I think he's corny. His personality is corny.
Yeah.
All right. So Houston 9.5 there for you. My favorite of the week. I gotta do it. Eagles 1.5.
There it is. I was waiting.
At home. The last time we played Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go one step further. The last time we played in the state of Minnesota, let alone when they came to us, was Super Bowl 52, motherfuckers. And you know what happened there? We came and we kicked your ass. We beat you down. Nick Foles came in, flea flicker.
Get into
Torrey Smith. Shout out the pride of both birds. Torrey Smith. Pick 6, Case Keenum.
Oh my God.
The defensive line all over you.
It's like
we're gonna come out Monday night and we're gonna hurts all over you.
For our listening audience.
All over you. It hurts so good. That's what it's gonna be. I will take 10 points. I will take 17 points over the Minnesota Vikings.
You have to.
They are a sad franchise. They always have been. The whole state of Minnesota is sad. They can't win anything. Name a sport that they've won. You can't. They bitch just as much as Philadelphia. They're just as bad as Philadelphia. I am.
Shout out Randy.
Yeah, I love you, Randy. But this is coming right for you.
Yeah.
Birds 1.5. Take it. It's not a lock. We'll get to the lock in a second.
Well, my favorite, and I can't believe I'm going with an under for a favorite.
You're not going to respond to that?
No, because you put such a good bow on it. I don't want to take away from it. Right. You served that cake table side. You did triple layer chocolate cake, and you came table side, and you go, "May I assist?" And you just, we can't even get into it.
You just got to pass on it sometimes.
Exactly. My favorite. I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's a team that's going to outcoach the other. It's a quarterback that's going to outplay the whole other team. He's not going to score that much, but damn well sure he owns them. Take the under, Green Bay Packers right now. And I throw a little bit of a money line on it as well. Right now they're at under 41.5. I don't see on the road the Bears scoring more than 10 to 13 points. But I can see definitely the Packers scoring at least 20 points here. I take the under.
Well, you like them. You like them covering that 10?
No. But I do like the under. Right. I think that they keep it close. I think that the case of the drops, or as Aaron calls it, the case of having the worst team in the world around him. I don't think that they're going to be able to separate that much, but I do think that neither team really scores, and I think that Aaron uses the clock to his advantage the entire time.
Well, All right. No, I mean, I like that. I think, like I said earlier, I think Aaron Rodgers is coming out pissed off.
Yeah.
He loves playing against the Bears. He loves shoving it in their face, especially after a week 1 loss. He's ready to shut everybody up.
Yep.
This Bears team's not that good. I mean, we didn't even really talk about that San Francisco or Seattle really even, because both those teams are kind of meh. Maybe we don't need Zion because who knows what's up with Trey Lance. But that might be a discussion for further down the season. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I like the Packers to cover that 10 easy.
Easy.
Yeah. And
Easy.
so we'll move throughout that. And that's going to be a big one Sunday night along with the Birds. But let's wrap this up here, Harry. What's our lock? What's our guarantee moving in to this week of NFL, the second week of the season? Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
I want you to go first because I got to tell you, I think I'm going to bring us to the promised land. So I'm going to let you go first.
Right. Well, you were kind of talking about when you were looking at your unders and your favorites. You're like, I don't want to touch this game. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals 7.5.
Wow. Okay.
I'm taking it.
All right.
I'm taking a pissed off Joe Burrow against a terrible Dallas Cowgirl team with no Dak Prescott, a 30-year-old Ezekiel Elliott, Cooper Rush at quarterback, nobody at wide receiver, a bunch of bums. And I'm taking Joe Burrow. I'll take the points, and they're going to absolutely go down to Dallas and light it up in Jerry World.
Light it up.
I love Joe. I love that team. They embarrassed week 1. They're ready to bounce back. Prime time, Jerry World, 4:00 hour. They're going to take it to them.
Love it. Hate it at the same time. I love it because you said it, but I hate the bet. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, man, but I'm doing a double here. I'm doing the money line and I'm doing the under. Take the Seahawks all day long on the road. They're coming. They're going to San Fran. This is always a phenomenal game. Doesn't matter who's at the quarterback helm. These two teams, it's like when the Ravens play the Steelers. It's a completely different type of ball game. I think that Seattle's hot after beating Russ at home. I don't think that Trey Lance is ready. I think that both defenses will play well. I see Seattle. I see the under hitting right now. What is it at? It's at 41.5. I think that's a great number. I would definitely take that under. And I see Seattle walking out with a 3-point win, going up 2, feeling hotter than heaven, and thinking that they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how much of a step they took back last week to a much far inferior team to like the Bears. Yep. Bad weather, no George Kittle. Those are big things that hurt with a young quarterback. I just don't see it with that team.
Not right now.
The defense isn't the same. They're not that polarizing. They're not getting after you. They don't have a player that scares me there. As a whole, they're a good team defense, but they don't have those Patrick Willises, those Navarro Bowman linebackers flying around anymore. Trey Lance is yet to be proven, so you can't bet on him until you see it.
Nope.
Geno Smith is a cover god, 9-0 in his last 9 starts. So you can't go against Geno. Gets another win last night. That's my only kind of retraction of it, is kind of that he's too hot, that he's got to lose.
Ooh, okay. All right. So you're throwing some cold ones on that burning fire. I see what you're doing.
But I got to play devil's advocate a little bit there. But no, I like it a lot. I think the Seahawks can go in there and beat them 100%. I don't think the 49ers are as good as a team as a lot of people thought they were going to be coming into this season.
100% agreed. Take our bets, win some money. You've been listening to Cold Ones Conversations. I'm Harry Heaps. I'm with Brendan Petrilli. Go subscribe to the podcast. Go view it, like it, share it. Show your mother, show your dad, show your family.
Right there. Press it.
Press it. We love you. We're going to be back next week. We'll have clips coming out. And listen, guys, we're getting this thing started from the ground up. We got more show ideas coming, 3 big show segments that are coming. But again, we're going to be recording every week, every Thursday to Friday. This guy's coming out before you get that digest of that Sunday football. Make sure you listen to us before you put those bets in.
Yep. 100%. Click those buttons right here, right there, everywhere. They're all over the screen. Click it. Takes 1 second. Means the world to us. means a lot for you because
Yep.
we're coming in here with the hot takes, with the educated takes.
The educated takes that don't fact check.
Yeah. We're having fun with it. I hope you guys had fun with it too. Listen to the Cold One Conversations. Shout out to 215. Go Birds. Hey, let's have some fun. NFL's back, baby. Football's back.